Yeah, we are working on law and ethics on Christian counseling, and yeah, just to take reading and trying to understand what the law and ethics, especially ethicals for the Christian counselings by AACC. And we'll continue that. 1-310. By reading this, we can understand what real ethicals looks like for Christian counselors, and those are pretty important because we are living with codes and laws in this society. So when we violate those things, we will get in trouble. But the codes and laws are not for just penalize all people who violate those things, but actually laws are for securing people, and that's for people's safety and benefits actually. Because what if we don't have any signals on the intersection? On an intersection, then people will get in trouble, and they want to just pass the intersection faster than others, and there will be chaos in a minute. So people are making laws because there are problems, there are dangers. People are making laws because for their own safeties, and it's same thing. So we don't understand, and we don't actually read all the laws we have in our society we are living in, because the laws are pretty big. Yeah. When you just visit a lawyer's office, you can see there are lots of books filled with cases and real laws. It's hard to read them all. I don't think lawyers can read those things all, but they just take a look at the cases, the former cases, because when there was a case judged by a judge for guilty, and when you have the same case with that, it's gonna be guilty too. Okay, in most cases. If there are same cases, so people are making laws for securing people's safety and benefits. We have those kind of ethicals for the safety, not only for counselors but also for the counselees. So that's for both parties, not for only one party. And then we can understand why people make that kind of laws and codes. And we can understand why we need that right now too. Well, people keep on changing, and organizations and countries are keep on changing their laws as time passes, because we don't need this kind of codes or laws anymore. But we need we need new codes and laws for the new stuff like electric cars and self-driving systems, and who's gonna take responsibilities on any accidents done by autopilot driving cars. those kind of things are very tricky and new stuff. So then we need new laws. Okay, laws comes after new things, because sometimes laws can, but in most cases laws come after the new things, and then once we set up the new laws, we want to just follow that for our safeties. Okay, so by reading those and understanding those codes, we can understand what really happened in the past and what we are supposed to protect. Okay, ourselves and our counselors. So those are the reasons why we want to take a look at those articles. Securing informed consent. Christian counselors secure client consent for all counseling and related services prior to the initiation of care or services. Yes. When you visit doctor's office, dentist, dental office or pediatrics, then you just go there and sign on the consent forms. There are lots of consent forms because of the liability issues. Okay, it's not pleasant sometimes, but if we don't sign on the consent forms, we can see the doctors, so we just sign on it. Which means when something happens, they're not going to take responsibilities on it, but the patients take responsibilities on it or something like that. And there are lots of medical suits, and same thing to the counseling. So, but it's not only for the liabilities, but also for the better performance, better results from the counseling. So, for example, you want to just be honest and something like that, sincere and good attitudes toward the counselors, and counselors will provide the best counselings to you, and those things are very inevitable. So we need to sign on the consent forms. Okay, this includes the video taping of client sessions for the safeties, because counselors cannot take counselees, and counselees cannot take counselors. When they got heated up, and those things can be happened. And the use of supervisory and consultative help, the application of special procedures and evaluations, and the communication of client data with other professionals and institutions. Okay. So we need to secure the informed consent, and that's why we want to just do documentize those things. So when you just live in the United States, wherever you go, there are lots of paper documents you have to sign on for any kinds of services. All right, and counselors take care of that. So in the consent forms, what the counselor is going to take care of. Number one, the client has the capacity to give consent. All right, so the client is sober and the client can sign on it. What if they are minors? They cannot sign on it, but their guardians, parents can sign on the consent forms. Because minorities, we cannot take any signs from the minors, because we are protecting those minors. it doesn't mean that their decisions can be wrong, but we just think their decisions cannot be mature. I mean, their thoughts and experiences are not mature enough. They haven't gotten any, good experience for that, or they don't fully know what's going on. So, for protecting the minors, we don't take any signs from the consent forms when we provide counseling services to the minors. Okay. Number two, that counseling has been discussed together. Or what if your counselors have mental disorders and so they cannot understand fully what's going on, and then we cannot take consent signs from. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. It's been actually a long time. I don't know. I rarely actually that which means I'm sleepy or I need more oxygen. I don't know. I had a sleep last night though. Anyways, what if the adult counselors are not mature enough or they have mental disorders? Then we don't want to take signs on the consent forms, and so we want to just recast our those people's guardians or parents can sign on the consent form. Okay. Number two, that counseling has been discussed together with the client and that the client reasonably understands the nature and process of counseling, the cost, time, and work required, the limits of counseling, and any appropriate alternatives. Those are very important. So when we want to just provide counseling services, okay, because they are paying for that, and you want to just let your counselors know what kind of what's the process of the counseling, okay, and you want to just let your counselors know that how much they are supposed to pay for it, and then what the counseling looks like, the process, the cost, and time. In most cases, in general, counselors provide counseling services for an hour, hourly, because 1 hour is not too short or too long. So most counselors provide counseling services for an hour each, and then counselors want to just take notes and just think about the next session or evaluate the past sessions and take memos, and there are lots of things to do and report for that to the supervisor, and then there are lots of document works for each session. So 1 hour counseling session plus counselors are supposed to do lots of works on it, okay? But we don't want to just let our counselors all kinds of miscellaneous works after or before the counseling services. But the time for the real counseling sessions time is 60 minutes, okay? It can be flexible, but because counselors know the time and the counselors know the time, they don't want to waste of their time. But just use their time they are paying for useful. So they want to just concentrate on the counseling sessions more, because wasting time equal wasting money. Okay? And then work required, which means homeworks, and because some counselors, I like it, I like it too, some counselors just require, request the counselors to do something as a homework, because they have to practice what they learned from the counseling sessions for the better life, for the resilience, for the recovering, for avoiding, more problems or something. So counselors can give counselors homework, those kind of work. Okay, the limit of counseling, we do counsel people, but we don't do house chores for the counselors or something like that. Okay, we don't give them a ride. We don't do, our counselors houseworks or something like that. We don't meet our counselors out of the office. Those things are very, those things can make lots of problems. So we don't want to mix our roles as counselors with something else. Okay. And any appropriate, what about the, phone calls? They can call their counselors through the work phones, but the personal phones, something like that, okay? And any appropriate alternatives, they can choose to stay with their counselors for like 5 sessions or 10 sessions. After 10 sessions, we can just take a look at, we can just discuss, whether we're going to continue that or not. Those are things we want to just consider, okay? And if they don't like their counselors, they can request their counselors referring, okay? And so there are many things they can choose, but we want to just let our counselors know what kind of options they have. And they have to understand what the counseling looks like so they can work together better, okay? The client freely gives consent to counseling without coercion or undue influence. The client freely gives consent to counseling. Okay, they don't want to be pushed to do that. Okay, or we don't. The counselors or others cannot push people to have counseling services. So they have to consent freely without any pressures or something. All right, those things are what we left last time, and we want to just continue that. Do you have any question or comments? Do you have any questions or comments?
No question.
All right, good. All right. So we want to just continue with this. 1-320, consent for the structure and process of counseling. Christian counselors respect the need for informed consent regarding the structure and process of counseling. At the onset of counseling, counselors and clients should discuss and agree upon the following. We want to respect the need for informed consent regarding the structure and process of counseling. So, what if without respecting those things, how we can provide counseling services to the counselors. Okay, it's not possible, and so we want to just do this. So counselors and clients should discuss and agree upon the following. Number one, the nature and course of counseling, including expectations. So when counselors, have their counselors, I think that those things can be happen. I mean, at least the first thing can be happen that the intake session, which means the first session with the counselors and clients, so they can just explain, and they want to just understand what the nature of the counseling. So counseling is not just showing the right ways for their lives. No, the counseling is not just pushing people to do something. No, counseling is just kind of has power, kind of external pressure so to the counselors, and they can be changed. No, so basically counseling is just understanding what the current issues and problems the counselors have, and understand what's going on first, and then let the counselors can find the best way to solve those problems, and just encourage the counselors to get more resilience, and they can overcome those kind of hardships or etc. Okay. So the counselors want to understand what the nature of the counseling, what it looks like. Okay. What kind of services they can get from the counseling sessions. Okay. And including expectations, which means what they can get from the counseling sessions. And the counselors want to check the expectations they have from the counselors, right? Number two, client issues and goals. We want to just listen to them, the counselors, what kind of issues they have. Mental issue, they have relationship issue, they can have financial issues, they can have kind of future planning issues, or conflicts with parents and kids. So they can just think about it. And what about their goals? Clients have goals. If they don't have that, or they wouldn't come to the counseling offices. They have a problem or problems, and they have certain expectations, from the counseling sessions. So we want to just make it clear what kind of goals they have. Their goals can be wrong, but they want to harm somebody else. That's one goal. Okay. So we want to just make clear what kind of goals they have from the counseling sessions. That's what we want to know too. Number three, potential problems and risks as well as reasonable alternatives to counseling, potential problems and risks, as well as reasonable alternatives to counseling. Well, what kind of problems and risks people can have from the counselings? Okay. Counseling is for helping people, and people are expecting they're gonna get good counselors. Yes, but there can be some risks and problems. Cause what if they don't like their counselors? What if they don't like the counseling rooms? What if they don't like counseling services? What if they don't like to share what they have in real? Okay. Cause lots of counselors, they just hide things from their counselors because of the shame, because of the responsibilities, or they don't want to just share what they mess. There are many reasons for that. So then it's gonna be risks and problems, right? And then, but we counselors let our counselors know what kind of alternatives they can have when they, have problems and risks, in counseling sessions. Okay, referring or stop coming, or they can even complain that to the stations or supervisors or the office, or they can have some alternatives. Okay, and even counselors can have options. Okay, they can choose something from the alternatives they have, like referring the client to somebody else because they feel it's not safe, or they cannot provide all kinds of services what their clients expect, and those are things what the counselors and clients know in the consent forms and in the advice. So number 4, counselor's status and credentials. All right, because counselors want to have best counseling services from their counselors, so they want to know what kind of credentials and status their counselors have. Okay, if the counselor is under supervision, that fact shall be disclosed and the supervisor's name and role indicated to the client. Well, that is very important, because they can just, what if they have complaints? They need to know their supervisors, if their counselors are under supervisors, okay, name and role, and so the clients can aware what they can do when they have a problem with their counselors. And so supervisor's name and role has to be indicated. Number 5, confidentiality and its limits. Yes, why people are coming to their counselors, because they can say they can talk to their counselors, you know, whatever they have, and then they are believing that, but their counselors will not share that to somebody else. Confidentiality is pretty important. That's why they don't want to talk to their best friends even, okay? But they are paying for the counselings and they see their counselors, okay? That's quite important, alright? And confidentiality and its limits quite important, alright? What limits? What kind of limits counselors have in in confidentiality? There are some limits and exceptions. We don't keep confidentiality when our clients are, about to kill themselves or kill others, harm others or harm themselves. Okay, and for example, those are things are the exceptions, and we want to just let our clients know those kind of things so they can understand the confidentiality. Alright? And fees and financial procedures. We want to just let our counselors know the fees. When a counselor is under supervision, as master or doctoral programs, they are in it, and then the counseling fees can be lower than others, lower than the counselings by PhD orders or signing orders, or depends on the credentials and status. The counseling fees can be varied. And even the private practice counselors, they can provide counseling to the local people for free for some cases, or sliding scales, which means they can pay, depends on what kind of financial status they have. For example, they getting when they have medical case, and then the government can support those people so that they can get good counseling services and insurance, and some insurances don't cover the counselings because they don't have the contract with their clients, and those are things. And fees and others and financial procedures. So before they got started the counselings, they want actually the administrative desk, then they just figure that out what kind of insurance they have. They gonna pay cash, or the insurance covers, or if they have to pay for that but they don't have cash on their hands, and they can have financial procedures for that, for loaning, and or just they can pay monthly for certain months, something like that. And those are what they want to just talk about before they got started their counselings. And then number 7, limitations about time and access to the counselor, including directions in emergency situations. Counselors, in most cases, they just work for their clients when they have yeah, I think that's it, and they don't actually take phone calls or they don't reply to their clients via emails, many times because it takes extra times for the counseling services. So the counselors, they usually don't take phone calls directly from their clients, and they have office phones, and the office can take care of their clients. So sometimes it is hard for the counselors when they have emergency situations. That's why there are hotlines and emergency contact numbers and people. Cause not only the physical problems, they can visit emergency rooms, but when they have mental problems, they can go emergency also. They can stop by the general hospital, or they can stop by any. I think the best way must be 911, so they can see, the doctors and counselors in the emergency rooms. But at the same time, they can call counseling offices, or there are lots of hotlines. For example, if you know somebody wanna just have a problem, you can call 911 anytime. But when you or somebody else wanna feel that they wanna just suicide, kill themselves, that's the hotline for the suicide. Just press 988, like just press 911 for any emergency situations. So when you just call 988, that's 24/7, which means they can answer to your phone call anytime. So that's the best way you can contact their numbers, because most people think, they don't think they can visit any emergency rooms in general hospitals, but they can just call 988 so they can talk with somebody. That's the suicide hotline. Okay. And number 8, procedures for resolution of disputes and misunderstandings. It's like customer service, okay? When you buy any clothes, you have complaints, you can talk with customer service. Same thing. When you have problems with your counseling services, you can call, the customer service for the counseling at any time you want. Because, you don't satisfy with the counseling services from a particular counselor, and you don't satisfy with the results or procedures, or that there can be many things. When you think you are paying too much for the counseling services, and you got a homework from your counselors, but you don't quite understand. You said you're gonna try it, but after the counseling session, you don't quite understand, or you just doubt the real homework you got from your counselors, and there can be many things you can do. So for the complaints, you you wanna just let your counselees know what kind of disputes and or claims they can do on those kind of misunderstandings or any disputes. Okay, so just letting them know they can claim any complaints or they can complain on any on anything during the or the total whole counseling sessions or periods. They can do many things. So those things what you wanna let your counselor know so that they can know their responsibilities and rights as counselors. Okay. All right. Questions or comments? Okay. 1-320A, consent from parent, legal guardian, or client representative. So why we need those things? Because our counselees are minors, or our counselees have a mental disorders, so they cannot make decisions. Okay. They don't have any responsibilities on their decisions, and we cannot take any consent forms from those people. So that's for getting the consent form from parent, legal guardian, lawyers, or the organizations, the representatives, when people are in any organizations or hospitalized, something like that. Christian counselors obtain consent from parents or the client's legally authorized guardian or representative when clients are minors or adults who are legally incapable of informed judgment or giving consent. Okay. For example, severely emotionally or intellectually disabled, organically impaired, like what if they are blind? They cannot read the consent form or something. Okay. Those who are, what if they don't have two hands? I mean, they don't have both hands because of the accidents, something like that. Those who are actively psychotic, which means what if they have schizophrenias, or what if they are under big huge depressions or anxieties, what if they are alcoholics or any substance abuse condition or addictions, then any consent from those people are not, we can't give them any credit. So then we need somebody else, guardians or legal or client representative. Elderly with significant Alzheimer's, dementias, etc. Because they are kind of on and off. So sometimes they are okay. I mean, normal. They can speak and read and sign on it, but sometimes they cannot do it, or sometimes they don't know what's going on, and then we cannot take any consent form from them. Okay, especially minors. It's absolutely, we cannot take any consent form from them, as I told you earlier, and because they are legally minors and they are legally kind of disabled. They cannot understand what's going on for others, and we cannot take any consent from those people. That's for avoiding, actually, that's kind of banning people who want to take advantage from those people. Right, so counselors, be careful when they have those kind of backgrounds and minors. You don't take any consent forms from them. Okay. Just taking any consent form from them itself can be a huge violation of that code of ethics. So don't even try. When you feel suspicious, so you wanna just ask them whether they are minors or they are incapable legally, then you wanna just ask them. Then you can fill it, or you can. There are lots of documents for in taking the clients, and there are lots of questionnaires, and when you just read it, you can see if they can sign on the consent form or not. Okay. At least for this, I want to just add one more thing. When you feel it's not quite right or safe when you get the consent form from any clients, because of those kind of reasons, you can take a memo on the consent form, which means I'm not sure if this client can be, need any guardians for this consent form again or something like that, right? By doing so, you can avoid any huge responsibilities. So you wanna just secure your job or safety. And 1-302B, documentation of consent. Christian counselors document client consent in writing by professional service agreement, contract, or consent form. Well, I just made some mistakes on this, because some people want to just get counseling services from me, and because I know those people, I didn't take any consent form from them, because I know them and they know me. And even though it was free because a friend of mine, because I didn't get the consent form, they think it's not quite professional service. Because I didn't get the consent form, I felt I don't take full responsibilities on them. So that's huge loss from both parties. So whether you know your clients or not, you wanna take professional consent form from your clients. Or they're not gonna respect you. They're not gonna open, all things to you, and you're not gonna understand fully what's going on to your clients, and you're not gonna find the best solutions for your clients, or the best ways you can help those clients. It's not only because of the liability and responsibilities, but also for the professionalism. Okay. Um, 1-320C is negligent or harmful practices. Christian counselors do not allow clients to unknowingly or unwittingly consent to negligence or harmful caregiving practices, especially those that involve dual relationships with the counselor. Well, as I told you earlier, why we have this kind of code of ethics? Because it can be happened, and it happened in the past. Okay? That's why people just made this kind of a code of ethics for preventing more problems. Okay? The negligent or harmful practices. So I don't recommend any of your relationships. Just to be your client's counselor and that's it. Don't be your client's coach. Don't be your client's guardian. Don't be your client's housekeeper or whatsoever. Okay? Or friend. You don't want to be your client's friend. You are your counselors. Okay? You, as clients, you don't want your counselor's friend also. The most and best simple ways to be good counselors, you just be counselor and that's it. Don't try to have any dual relationship. And then, negligent or harmful practices can be happened at any time. Okay. So we don't want to allow our clients to unknowingly and unwittingly consent to negligence or harmful practices. We can manipulate or we can control or we can, just put some kind of evil statements, one of a few lines on the consent form, so we can take advantage from our clients, and that's not what we want, and that's not our clients' expect. If you want to just take advantage of your clients, you can find any other things you can do for making money or getting some particular things from your clients. So you don't have to be counselors for that. Okay? There are more effective and more productive ways you can take advantage of your clients. Other people. So, but there are some not quite why Christian counselors and other counselors want take advantage of their clients. That's the problem. That's why we want to just put that code of ethics in here. Okay. So no harmful, no negligence things or conditions in the consent form ever. So that's the thing we need to be careful. It's 10:56. We want to take a 10 minutes break. So I want to just be back 11:06. Okay. Let's take a break. I don't think you ever read this kind of long clause. So this is pretty good things to know actually. Whether you are counselors or clients, get a good experience, I think. Right, you will continue to this. 1-330. Consent for biblical and spiritual practices in counseling. We have this kind of a code of ethics because we AACC is for Christian counselors and Christian counselors. Okay. We can find this kind of a thing from secular counseling. This is the kind of huge part, huge difference we can see from Christian counselors. Christian counselors do not presume that all clients want or will be receptive to explicit spiritual Judeo-Christian interventions in counseling and therefore obtain consent that honors client's choice. Receptivity to these practices and the timing and manner in which these elements are introduced. This includes, but is not limited to the following. It's going to be 1 to 7, I think. Okay. People are coming to Christian counseling centers or Christian counselors because they are expecting something biblical and or spiritual stuff from the counselings. Well, so Christians, I think they don't want to just go to secular counselings much because they want to they have problems and that's the most sensitive part for them currently, and they want to just get something, similar what they are believing in. But they can go to their pastors or priests if they want. But there are some reasons they are coming to Christian counselors or Christian counseling centers. Because what if they just share what they have, problems or any incidents, things like that, to their pastors or priests, and they have to see their pastors and priests next week, next month, for a few years or many years, and they feel shame after they share all kinds of mess or problems with their priests or pastors. But they don't want to go to secular counseling centers because they can think secular counseling centers or counselors can give them not quite biblical advice or guidance or something like that. So they are coming to Christian counseling centers and Christian counselors. But the religion is pretty tricky part. So even Christianity, there are lots of denominations and theologies are some different, those differences can make people separate. That's why we have lots of denominations. So when you want to just see Christian counselors, you want to just see what kind of denominations or what kind of theology they have. But that's not quite easy for clients. So I think that is pretty tricky, but even though they don't know their counselors' backgrounds, but they can see that Christian counselors or Christian counseling centers, so they can think it can be better than secular counseling centers or counselors. That's why they are coming to Christian counseling centers and see counselors. Even though, or any other secular people who are not Christians, they can come to Christian counseling centers expecting, even though they are not Christians, they think Christians have better standard. That's what people thought in the past. I don't think people are still thinking that way, because as time passes, I don't see many, differences or better standards from Christians or churches. Even though I'm a Christian, I don't see quite, good or big differences between Christians or non-Christians. It's a shame to Christians. Anyways, so whether you have as Christian counselors, for example, when you have Christian or non-Christian counselors, whether they are aware that you are Christian counselors or not, you cannot just presume or that they know that you are Christian counselors, so you only provide, it's kind of weird, but you only provide Christian counselors to your clients, but anything else, or you just, give pressure to your non-Christian or Christian counselors that, you just want to just give them biblical or spiritual counselings. That's what you cannot do, okay? Especially when you have non-Christians, you are about to just, evangelize those clients, that's not acceptable, okay? Because counseling is, even Christian counseling is not for evangelism. If they want to just intend to be converted or something, you better send those people to the local pastors. Okay? That's not what you want to do. When you just allow that or practice that, you're gonna build a dual relationship, and that's not quite what we want to recommend. Right. This includes, but it's not limited to the following. Number one, prayer for and with clients. Well, if they want you to do for that, if they just consent to it, you can do it, I think. Okay. Or you can introduce those things to your clients, so your clients can consent to it, and then you can do it. But if they don't want to do it, you never do it. Okay. Your clients are non-Christian. You don't ask you to pray for the counseling session in the beginning, but you just pray for them. It's not acceptable. Okay. So you need to let them know that what kind of Christian counseling looks like. But if they don't consent on it, you don't want to just practice it. Biblical Bible reading and references, that's quite, we want to use the Christian counselors, because we can, actually that's quite powerful when we do that. It's quite powerful. If you want to just do it, really, I don't know. Because they can, that's not your choice, but your client's choice. I'm a Christian counselor, so I want to just do whatever I want in this Christian counseling room. That's not what I can do. So you want to just get consent from those people. Bible reading and references, that's powerful. So not only pastors can do, but the Christian counselors can use Bible verses for counselings. Spiritual meditation, spiritual meditation. Son, what do you think the difference between spiritual meditation and secular meditation? Can you give us some examples?
Spiritual meditation as in Christian meditation?
What the Christian meditation looks like?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Spiritual meditation, for example, you can just give your clients to, have any particular Bible verse or verses they can use, so they can just think about that, or they can just meditate on the Bible verses, or they can, when they understand particular God's love in a particular conditions or situations, you want to just recommend your clients to think about that love or that care when they meditate. So those kind of things can be spiritual meditation. And yeah. So that's the difference between spiritual and secular meditation. Okay. You can utilize spiritual meditation for the counseling, for your counseling sessions, so people can get benefits from that too. They can feel it. They can just stay with that for a moment, and they can calm down, or they can find any comfort, or they can see, what's going on to them, a little bit one step behind or one step away. So it can be helpful. Number 4, the use of biblical and religious imagery or music. That's what we can use too. We don't want to fill the whole counseling sessions with that kind of music, but we can just, when you find any good gospel songs or hymns, hymnals to your clients, I think that you can just play that and meditate or sing together if you want. That can be helpful also. Number 5, assistance with spiritual formation and discipline. Since they agree to the counseling, those kind of Christian counseling skills and methods, you want to just use that kind of things too. Spiritual formation means and discipline. So I think Christians know what are those, and as Christian counselors, you can utilize to your counseling sessions. Number 6, I think that's on the consent form, and you want to just get the consent from your counselor also. And we are working on code of ethics. It's not, pastor counseling class or whatsoever, but we want to just read it and we can just utilize it. We 7 other common spiritual practices, for example, what? There are prayers and music and meditation and reading, all kinds of things. So as long as they consent on it, you just use those things, but you want to make sure those things are helpful to your counseling sessions, or you don't want to just misuse it or just waste of your time for that. 1-340, special consent for more difficult interventions. Christian counselors obtain close or special consent for more difficult and potentially controversial practices. Well, these include but are not limited to deliverance and spiritual warfare activities. Well, that's quite strong, right? But to coach deprogramming work, well, it's cool, eh? Number 3, recovering memories and the treatment of past abuse or trauma. Those are pretty tricky, I think. I don't know how many Christian counselors want to practice those things, but that's doable. Okay, that's doable. And that's doable as long as Christian counselors can practice it and the clients can consent on it. Why not? But it's not what I want to use though. Okay, but some Christian counselors can use it. recovery memories and the treatment of past abuse or trauma, that's what you can do. Number 4, the use of hypnosis and any kind of induction of altered states. Okay. Example, you are ugly, but you want to just work on the statement or states. Well, recently, this is what I'm just thinking and meditating. People, when a person go this way for the dreams or goals, I think there can be some hooks. There can be some hooks from any trauma. Okay. Well, trauma is quite broad, but kind of bad memory with parent or any other hook. Kind of poverty. Poverty can be a trauma too, because we cannot do anything we want without any money. It can be traumatized, kind of bad relationship or any separation, okay, failure. We are living with those things, and then how we can break those things down so we can go this way easier, faster, and comfortably. But when this person knows, let's say he knows that there are 2 hooks, okay? He knows that this is great. If you know something, you have a chance to take care of those things. But what if the hook, you don't know. You don't know, but it's actually self-esteem, failure moment. By an incident. If he knows these kind of hooks, he can work on it, but it doesn't guarantee that he can be free. He can be freed from all hooks, okay? But what if he doesn't know that a hook or hooks from many other things, then how he can handle that hook? He can't. Well, it can be disappeared as he goes to the right directions, because he can get some little and big success, and he can be freed from the low self-esteem incident, failures, and then it can be great for him. But what if this hook is the most strongest one? So it is just controlling and manipulating this person, and he doesn't know it. That's gonna be really painful. Number 5, authorizing by medical doctors medications, electroconvulsive therapy, or patient restraints. Electroconvulsive therapy, we can use electricity actually on our brain. So we literally just open or just or make a hole or something into our brain, this particular parts of our brain, and stimulate our real brain inside of our heads. And by doing so, we can just cure some depressions. And we have that kind of experiments, and actually that's a particular treatment for our mental disorders. It's so successful, and there are particular doctors for that. Okay, we can authorize those medications or therapies. Okay, and the use of aversive, involuntary, or experimental therapies. And 7, engaging clients who are struggling with same-sex attraction, crisis pregnancy, abortion, decision-making, and or end-of-life issues. There are many kinds of things we can do. Excuse me. Right. 1-340A, additional documentation required. See, how many documents we have. Our clients have to sign on those kind of consent forms a lot. That's what happening at the first session, intaking. The above listed interventions require a more detailed discussion with clients and more client representatives regarding specific procedures, risks and treatment alternatives, and a detailed written consent agreement for the procedure should be obtained. So when you go doctor's offices, there are lots of files with many names on it. It's about the same to the counseling centers, whether you are private practitioners or not, or working for counseling centers. You can see lots of names, and you wanna just get all documents from your clients for your safety and for your clients' safety. Okay? When you don't have kind of essential documents from your clients, you can get in trouble, legal too. 1-350, changes in the counselor's role. Christian counselors recognize their role in the helping process can change or transition from time to time. For example, from individual counselor to marital family counselor, we just took care of that already in the past. It's a dual relationship or changing the relationship. Or vice versa, from evaluator, researcher, mediator, or life coach to counselor, or vice versa, etc. Our role can be changed. Counselors secure new and or additional informed consent that is congruent with any new therapeutic goal, as well as discuss the benefits and the risks inherent in the transition. Christian counselors' professionality must be on counseling, Christian counseling, and you can change your role. Then then you have to be careful for that. As I told you, dual or triple, quadruple relationships is no good at all. But especially from individual counselor to marital family counselor or something like that, educator or coach, then you have to fully aware that your role is changing, and then you have to let your counselor know that your role and changed, so your relationship with your counselor is gonna change too. Sometimes that it can be, you know, good benefit for your counselors, but I don't quite recommend, even though, you know, you gotta just refer your clients to those kind of professionals if you want, but it is doable also. It is doable, but I don't want to quite recommend that though. But the code of ethics can take care of it, so you can understand that, and you want to just use it for your counselings. ES1-400, confidentiality in Christian counseling, or code to trustworthiness. Well, confidentiality is that's the top priority in counseling, because they are coming to you for saying everything they have without any problems. Okay. So finding new person, counselor, professionals, and they are paying for it. So you want to just think about the confidentiality. That's the top priority. Confidentiality recognizes that every client has a fundamental moral and legal right to privacy, and to have a wide range of personal thoughts, opinions, beliefs, and behaviors that are protected from public knowledge. So you cannot just let others know about your clients at all. Just don't say anything, okay? Don't use any case for your studies without any consent. Don't put any case to your casebook. Don't publish that. Don't share that without any consent, without any name changes. You cannot do that. You get in trouble, you can go to jail. You don't want to just stand behind the bar because of it. Okay, careful. Just don't do it. Don't do it. You know, don't even think about whether you can do it or not. The little things about the, you know, your counselors, don't even think about it. Just don't do it, and that's the best way to protect yourself and your clients. The therapeutic alliance between counselor and client is enhanced whenever there is an environmental that offers an appropriate level of confidentiality, privacy, and safety. So that's why the counseling rooms and centers, all kinds of decorations and facilities and tools, CCTVs and securities, those are all important. When you see, when you visit any government counseling centers, you will see securities there. They usually armed securities, which means they got pistols on their wrist, and they got maybe knives or something, or electric guns, or you will see all kinds of things, because they are there for protecting the clients and the counselors and the facility. Okay. There is no exceptions. You will definitely see the securities there. So environmentally, there must be safe the counseling centers and offices. So that's for the confidentiality also. Okay? If that is not safe enough, you don't want to just open your hearts to your counselors. I really got disappointed with the doctor's office when I was in Korea. I mean, this was a doctor's office room, and a nurse just let me just sit on here. So I just sat on the chair, but there were 3 people already in the room. And the doctor just saw a patient and a nurse was there. I could understand why a nurse just, let those people sit on the chairs because for saving the time. Okay, saving the time. Time is money to the doctors. Okay, so the more patients they see, the more money they can have. I can understand that. But when I was sitting on there, and this is the next person, this is the next person, and I had to move my seats over there, and I could hear what kind of medical problems those people have. That was no good experience at all. We cannot see this in the United States, because of the privacy. Just one patient, okay, in each room. So that was a really horrible experience for me. That was not happening in the general hospital, but in a private office. So that was horrible. I don't remember what kind of medical issues they had at the time. But I just wondered, when I sat on here, there were 4 other people in my bed, and I was kind of feeling awkward. So they are listening to the doctor and what I'm talking about, my medical condition. That was so I just wanted to use English terminologies as much as I could, so other people couldn't understand that, but I don't know. So the doctor just asked me, "Are you a doctor?" No. No, I'm not a doctor. That wasn't. Anyways, confidentiality is quite important, but that doctor and the office didn't understand that. I don't know if the doctor is still doing that or not. Alright, this dynamic helps promote strong and effective trusted relationships and is an essential factor in facilitating self-disclosure and the potential for personal, relational, and spiritual growth and wholeness. We are called to trustworthiness. That's what we want us to remember. Okay? If you really want to research a particular case and publish, some cases from your clients, you need to get the consent form. What if, without those kind of consent form, you published it, you opened it to, the public, and your clients claim to that, but you don't have a consent form, you get in trouble. Definitely, you will stand behind the bar, and you will lose 100%. That's because of the confidentiality. So, for your safety, get the consent form. But I wouldn't just publish any casebook or something because I don't want to get in trouble. Just happy people and that's it. 1-410 Maintaining client confidentiality. Christian counselors maintain client confidentiality, privacy and privileged communication to the fullest extent allowed by law, professional regulations and ethics, and church or organizational rules. Confidential client communications include all verbal, written, telephonic, audio or videotape, electronic or internet, and web-based communications arising within the happy relationship. Apart from consented to, regulatory, mandatory, or legally required disclosure, counselors shall not break confidentiality regarding client communications without first discussing the intended disclosure and securing written consent from the client or client representative. That's all I mentioned already. So, you have any questions or comments? Okay, we'll continue the next week. See you next week.
So, but we need consent, but we can publish without names? No.
Usually they change the name.
But if you change names, everything is okay, or still we need
As
consent?
long as we need to get we need to consent, no matter what.
If you don't have consent, even you change names, it's still bad.
You will stand behind the bar. If they sue, yeah, and you're gonna lose 100%.
Even you don't publish the names, yeah? The names of person.
Yeah.
You just say so the story, but you don't say names. It's always still problem.
Yeah. Because your clients can know that's their case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.